Howdy folks, today we're going to talk about the Dunu Kima 2. I don't know if there was a Kima 1, I'm thinking there wasn't because I haven't seen one. But anyways, what we have here is a one dynamic driver of some particular type inside of a very, very heavy steel shell. It's very pretty. And also it's green, sort of greenish blue colored. Quite pretty, brass-ish looking nozzle with, if we look in here, now these are not mine so I can't take them apart, but we can see that right here in the tip, they have a damper with a little tiny hole in the middle. So that's going to do something to the treble replay on this. Also, if we look at where the driver is mounted, which is, you can just see the outline kind of here, then we can see that the bore tube is offset, so we're going to be hitting the side of the driver rather than directly in the center. And I play guitar, and one of the things that you would do if you play guitar and you want to record particular tones is you can stick your microphone directly on axis right in the center of the speaker in your guitar cabinet. That will give you the most treble, and you can off angle it, so to the side. That would give you a little bit less treble, and then you can migrate it from the center of the driver all the way to the edge, which will give you more bass. So that just gives you a little bit of idea of that they're grabbing a little bit more bass by hitting the edge of the surround on the driver, but then we have a little sort of hole in the damper that allows a little bit of extra treble to come out, and it's not dampened down. Just to mention this, treble frequencies are very easy to cause to be lower, to decrease, if you have anything in the way or even just air, right? So a lot of air, distance, or if you're off angle, or for instance a damper. So what they're doing here is they basically have a little pinhole in the center to allow for more treble, and then sort of the wavelength that is affected is based on the diameter of the little pinhole in the center of that. Anyway, blah blah blah. So then we have a front vent right here. We can see some looks like brass or something in there. I don't know. But then there's a damper inside, and then over here we have the back damper, which is interesting. I don't know. I'm just looking at the grid pattern on that. It's very coarse, so it's letting a lot of air in. It's possible that if you taped over this vent right here, you might get some change in bass levels or the low end. Recessed 2-pin, and fairly nice build quality. We'll talk about the sound here, which is basically going to be fairly neutral, actually. And generally I'm a neutral kind of guy. I like neutral. I do like the tonality of this quite a bit. First popped them in my ears, and I thought, hey, you know what? These are really, really good. And then I listened to a bunch of tracks. They do really quite well for metal. All genres, give or take pretty decently. But then what I found was I just felt like the X factor, a little bit, that extra over the top that you would want. And you can't necessarily graph it, or that was a little bit lacking on these. A little bit flat sounding, for lack of a better word, but flat is just frequency response. It's just the X factor was a little flat on these, but for the price, which I don't remember off the top of my head, maybe like $75, $80. Not bad at all. So they're gonna get like a kind of wreck. I prefer a little more X factor, but that's gonna be up to the listener to decide whether or not they do that for you. But let's just go ahead and graph these up real quick. All right, just don't pay attention to that. Get that out of the way. Here's our graphing tool. We're gonna do a little graph here. Boom. Also, I have them in my coupler, just to mention that. Let's see what we can find. All right, we have a squiggly line happening. I'm graphing with Softear's Ultra Clear Tips. All right, there's our graph. Very nice. So we have that we can see pretty low bass shelf there. Yeah, I don't know if you'd want to tape over that back vent. That's not a whole lot of bass, but you could tape over the front vent. That would do something. And then we have 9.6 decibels, we call it 10 of ear gain, centered around 2.3-ish K, 2.3, what are we at? 2.3. And then the energy at about 6.5 K is equal to the mids, right around 500. That's interesting. Got a little 8K peak, hit that fairly decently, actually. And not a huge roll off in the air regions. I like to see about between, let's say, 5 and 7 decibels down from the mid range in that area to sound natural-ish, and still have a little bit of sparkles up there. So we're at about 7, so that's nice. 13 and a half. We're doing pretty good. So it's got a nice amount of air extension there, and the bass levels are about over the mid range. Oh shit! Right about here. So about 5. So, you know, overall, this is the type of tuning that I do enjoy quite a bit. I would say if there's something I could complain about, it would just be that I would prefer maybe a little bit less of the ear gain, maybe closer to 6, 7 rather than 10. But anyway, there's our graph. Very cool. I'll give them like a partial recommendation. Mostly, if I had to complain, which of course I will complain, it's going to be essentially that, I'll go back here, that I don't really like this heavy of a shell. It's just stupid. Make it out of aluminum, not steel or whatever. They're, you know, lead. Very heavy. I could actually measure the weight of them. Let me see here. I probably should have done that before. Let me just go grab my scale. Hang on a sec. All right, here we are back with a little scale. This is for measuring small things, and I have it in grams, and we are at 11 grams compared to, oh, I don't know, the IAMs I'm making. I'll just pop those on here. Those are 2.7 grams, so they're pretty heavy, quite a lot heavier than I really do enjoy. Anyways, that's my review of the Kima 2. So you want something neutral that plays most genres and is quite heavy in your ears and is reasonably pretty, then these are for you. Thanks a lot. Talk to you on the next one.